thanks for joining. So we're going to jump right into today's video. Today's video, since I am a former teacher, I wanted to give you some great classroom purchases that you can make. Back to school season is right around the corner, and I want to make sure you're well prepared with things that you would actually want or need to buy. So obviously you can buy whatever you want. Please feel free. If you're one of those teachers who likes to buy anything and everything, go for it. I am not one of those, what I would like to call an extra teacher. I like to buy as little as possible. I really think the school system should be supplying us with more stuff. Obviously, that's not always the case, so there are things that you would have to buy with your own money. And those are the things I'm going to be focusing on today that I had to buy with my own money for my classroom. But these are things that I really thought would be helpful and needed for my classroom. Obviously, based on what grade you teach and your general needs of your classroom, these things might be different. But I really don't regret any of these purchases because they did help me along the way. And I'm still actually using some of them today. When I was virtually teaching, I was using them. And then I'm actually able to use them for storage and things at home, just as regular storage at home, not even for school or teaching. So I think some of these supplies are really helpful. And again, it really depends on your classroom and your needs. So I just wanted to let you know that, because if you don't need some of these things, depending on how your classroom is arranged, then they might not make sense for you. Let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing I think is great to have is actually right next to me today. Hopefully you can see it. It's just a cart. So I have a 3-tiered cart here. I got it because I loved the color. It matched with my classroom theme at the time. I would have loved it if it was like square or rectangle, but that's okay because I really just loved the color and the design and everything. And honestly, when I was in the classroom, I used this to hold water bottles. So this was great. I had a water bottle cart just because my kids, I didn't want them as third graders having water bottles just at their desk all the time. So this was a great classroom management system for my classroom. And then we came up with the hand signals to go and ask for water when they wanted to get up out of their seats, so that way I knew why they were getting up. So this is one of my favorite purchases, and I still used it during virtual teaching to hold my school supplies and things that I was using, but I also use it just now for general storage at home. So really universal. It's not the cheapest thing. I think I got it at Target. Usually Target or Walmart has these, so I would check there. Maybe even finding one used though would be a good option as well. I just really needed one of these, and it was really last minute since the time I got hired when I bought this was pretty much a couple weeks before school started, so I was running out of time rushing around. So I did pay regular full price for it and everything, but I'm sure you could find one used somewhere for a little bit cheaper. The next thing that I think is a great classroom purchase are these little caddies. So they come in multiple sizes. They come in this size or this size, and I'm sure they come in other sizes as well. These are the 2 sizes that I have. So you can really disperse it how you want. How I use these ones specifically for my classroom is I put all the desks together, or I can't remember, maybe I had tables at the time. But either way, if you want to group tables or group desks together and have your kids sit there in a group instead of in rows, that's where I used these for. So I used these for that purpose, for holding markers or pencils. Community supplies really is what these were used for me. So these were great because I loved having all my kids at the tables sharing everything. And so at the beginning of the school year, I had them unpack their school supplies and put them in here. Now, they didn't have to share necessarily if they had something really special to them that they wanted, like a special pen or special markers or something, but general like pencils, erasers, things like that are pretty generic. That's kind of what went in here. The next thing that I highly recommend that you purchase for your classroom, and I'm hoping that your school comes with these already. Maybe you have a huge supply closet at your school. Every school is really different. I've dealt with a little bit of both, where it was like free range, get the supplies you need, and then don't take anything from the supply closet. So I've dealt with a little bit of both. So this is something I highly recommend, especially if you're a virtual teacher. I used this way more in virtually teaching, just because I didn't have a smart board virtually than I did in the classroom. So the next thing I recommend you buy are dry erase markers. And personally, I don't believe you can have enough of these because I found myself these running out all the time and when I was teaching online. So having plenty of these was super important to me. Dry erase markers for my handheld whiteboard that I had, because those are really universal. And they're great for in-person teaching or virtually teaching as well. Also, a whiteboard goes right along with this. If you have a whiteboard that you can just use as a personal whiteboard, this may not be necessary if you're in-person teaching, unless you're thinking of maybe a different small group dynamic. But virtually teaching, my screen was the whiteboard, and then my personal whiteboard that I held up for the kids to see. So whiteboard markers, and then also the whiteboard itself. And I would say if you want to buy an eraser, go for it, but you really don't need to, because you can use a sock, you could use a pillowcase, you could use tissues, whatever works for you. So that one's much easier. I wouldn't necessarily waste your money on that, but I would definitely recommend buying dry erase markers. Also, in the comments down below today, if you have any purchases that you think would be helpful for anyone watching this video, or even me as a former teacher but still subbing and in the world of teaching a little bit here and there, make sure to leave them in the comments down below and share your ideas, because as teachers we like to share together and collaborate and be able to just give each other ideas and feed off one another. So hopefully these classroom purchases helped you today. Hopefully you can take something with that you're going to buy and use in your classroom, or maybe a different way to use any of the supplies I mentioned. You can also leave that in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you want to see next from the channel. I have more than just teaching content on here. I have exercise or fitness content, and I also have cleaning content as well, since I'm currently a housewife. So feel free to leave any comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.